This is WFYI News Now. It's May 9th, and I'm Abriana Herron. On today's show, the Trump administration terminates a federal grant funding teacher bonuses and literacy coaches in Perry Township Schools. More babies are being admitted to neonatal intensive care units across the country. And the ACLU of Indiana is suing Governor Mike Braun over changes to Indiana University's Board of Trustees.
This is clearly an overreach that violates the Constitution. So I think it's critically important for folks to stand up for these things and defend the rights that we have.
Those stories coming up, but first. Asian Fest returns this weekend, an event for Hoosiers to learn and celebrate Asian American and Pacific Islander cultures. WFYI's Samantha Horton reports on the free event.
Asian Fest will include food, music, and art for families. There will also be a health clinic and a brief presentation recognizing Asian American youth in the community. Rupal Tanawala is the president of the Asian American Alliance. She says Asian Americans have called Indiana home for over 100 years. And in recent years, there has been a sharp increase in population. With dozens of countries and hundreds of islands represented, the festival helps people connect with their fellow Americans.
We struggle sometimes with not being understood well, and we wanted to take this opportunity to make sure that, our Hoosier friends have an opportunity to come out and learn about our culture, but also celebrate with us.
Asian Fest will be held at the Indiana Historical Society on Saturday from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. I'm Samantha Horton.
Tanawala says the Alliance has organized a free video presentation on Monument Circle's AES building throughout the month, showcasing Asian Americans in Indiana. A federal grant that funded teacher bonuses and literacy coaches in Perry Township Schools has been terminated by the Trump administration. The district was set to receive $6.4 million over 3 years through the Teacher and School Leader Grant. Now, more than half of the future funding is in jeopardy, according to our reporting partner, Chalkbeat Indiana. The U.S. Department of Education cited concerns over diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives as the reason for canceling the grant. Perry Township Schools argue the program promotes merit and helps retain effective educators. They have appealed the decision and are awaiting a response. More babies are being admitted to neonatal intensive care units, or NICUs, across the country. That's according to a data brief from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The brief looked at NICU admissions between 2016 and 2023. Side Effects Public Media's Ben Thorpe reports Indiana saw a 19% increase in that period.
The report found that about 1 in 10 infants nationwide were admitted to a neonatal ICU in 2023, a 13% increase since 2016. That increase held across all racial groups. Laura Hainline is the division chief of neonatology at the Indiana University School of Medicine. She said many of the things that put infants at risk happen before mothers even get pregnant.
Here in Indiana, our whole population has higher risk of diabetes, overweight, living in communities that may have less access to healthy food options.
Hainline worries that the legislature's recent decision to reduce funding for local public health departments could undercut efforts to reduce infant mortality in Indiana. I'm Ben Thorpe.
And for our final story today, the American Civil Liberties Union of Indiana is suing Governor Mike Braun over changes to Indiana University's Board of Trustees. Reporter Aubrey Wright has more on why the ACLU believes Braun is breaking the law.
The ACLU and a Board of Trustee candidates say Braun is violating Indiana's Constitution because of changes that apply only to IU. Braun signed the state budget into law, giving him full control over the appointment of IU trustees. Before the budget, IU alumni elected 3 of 9 trustees, but now Braun can remove them and select new ones. In a lawsuit filed Wednesday, Board of Trustees candidate Justin Bassel says that special legislation targets IU, which is prohibited in Indiana.
This is clearly an overreach that violates the Constitution. So I think it's critically important for folks to stand up for these things and defend the rights that we have.
IU's Alumni Association was supposed to host trustee elections next month, but the university canceled voting. For Indiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Aubrey Wright.
Braun's press secretary didn't respond to requests for comment. That's all for today's episode of WFYI News Now. Our podcast is produced by Drew Daudelin and Zach Bundy, with support from the news team at WFYI and public media journalists across the state. Our news director is Sarah Neal-Estes. Kendall Antron produced our music, and I'm your host, Abriana Herron. If you like today's episode, remember to subscribe and share, and follow WFYI on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube to check in on our newsroom throughout the day. Thanks for listening. We'll be back on Monday.